calling the meeting to order, and then we take a roll call.
I'm going to start, Steve, this is John. I'm going to start recording when you tell me to start recording just before you start the meeting.
Okay.
Mike McGee just asked for a password, so I sent him that number, the 713 number.
Users.
He could just click on the link if he wanted to join that way.
No.
Mark's there, 3. We do have a quorum. That's good.
Can everyone see the agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
Somebody's got the TV on in the background. If you want to shut off the TV, or if you can, that would be a help.
Okay, John, why don't you push record?
Okay, the recording is on.
I'm going to call the regular meeting, virtual meeting of the Harbor Management Commission to order. We have a quorum. So the following is present: myself, McDonald, Chris, Mary Cloud, Beatty, Mary Ellen, and RD. Richard Shriver, Tom Meyer, yes, Keith Nielsen. Anybody know who RD is? Who's showing up as RD? And Bob Culver is present? Yes, no?
RD, you have to unmute your mic. We can't hear you.
George Finley.
Steve, can you hear me?
Tom Myers here.
Bob Doyen.
George Finley.
Okay, good. User.
Bob Faliguera.
That's what I thought. We still don't know who RD is, or is that?
Jeff Mike is dialed in.
Oh, is it Mr. Dolan? Are you on?
Yes.
Steve, it's Bob Doyen.
Oh, hi, Bob. Okay. We have a quorum to support for the meeting minutes of May 12th. Does anybody have any changes, corrections, or additions? I'd like to hear a motion to approve or submitted. Somebody speak up.
So moved.
Bob Faliguera's motion to approve the meeting minutes. Second. March 2nd.
Hi, this is Mike's wife, Sarah.
second the meeting minutes.
Okay, I'll second.
Second.
This is John. I'll second the meeting minutes.
Is there anybody opposed to the motion? If not, motion's passed. Correspondence. We received the pre-application, pre-submission application from Old Colony Beach for drainage improvements. Secondly, we received an email from Gene
Sure.
Shamil of Blackhall
Are you sure now?
Outfitters regarding the marker that went missing at the
It's extremely hard to hear you. If everyone could mute their phones, or the host can go in and mute everyone. If you click on the participants panel, you can go through and mute everyone, or if anyone can just mute themselves, but there's a ton of background noise. I can't hear you at all.
Okay, I'm gonna mute everybody.
Much better. Thank you, John.
Okay, now Steve, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Steve, you're the only one with the microphone active right at the moment.
Okay, good.
If one thing, if Chris could take the screen down with the agenda, then I could see the people. And if somebody raises their hand, I can unclick and let people talk here.
Okay, how do you raise your hand?
Oh, okay, I'll tell you what. When you ask a question, I'll unmute everybody,
Okay.
and if they have a question, I'll unmute everybody.
All right, thank you. Okay, all right, Old Colony Beach pre-admission application and an email from Gene Shamil of Blackhall Outfitters regarding the marker that went missing at the Blackhall and Long Island Sound. That was correspondence. They'll be covered further in the agenda. Treasurer's report. I know Bill sent it out to Mary Ellen today. Can you put that up, Chris? And you can unmute Bill Harris.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Last time the mic didn't work. You there?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you, Bill.
All right, because I just had some weird guy on the screen. Now we're back to the. All right. So balance is 27,471.77. Basically, all that we got was $250 for moorings last month, $49 interest. The disbursement of $181.42 was the postage for the it was basically the mooring stickers, the printing.
Okay. Anybody have any questions about the treasurer's report?
Oh, wait a minute, I gotta unmute everybody. Unmute.
Any questions regarding the treasurer's report?
No questions.
No questions, okay. We'll accept the treasurer's report. Who's called in user number 7? Just join us.
Let's take the roll call one more time. We have user 2 is Harry. We have call-in user number 4, number 6, and number 7. The people that called in, would you identify yourself?
Terry Lewis.
George Finley.
Tom Meyer.
Okay, thank you.
Let us know if you're getting us.
Okay. Moving on. Joe Salvatore regarding the status of the FIP grants and received no reply. I contacted Ben Arsenault at the governor's office regarding the deputy harbor master appointment. He emailed back that he wanted to talk to me later in the day. Never heard from him. Called him, left the message. Still haven't heard from him today. So I think the state is on vacation, unless it pertains to the coronavirus. Member appointments, we have none. Pilgrim Landing, Mike McGee, are you here?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, go ahead, Mike.
Hello?
You're on.
You made
Right,
it.
thank you. Well, as you all know, we had the kayak rack down there. Dante and the town crew did a great bang-up cleanup job. Filled in some gullies, re-whacking and everything looks good.
Sure.
Hello?
That was very garbled.
I can't tell which phone line is Mike's because I can unmute him if I knew which one he was.
I think it's 7.
Is there anything I can do to signal you?
No, that's Jeff Meineke.
User number 6, I'll rename it. All right, I just renamed user number 6 Mike, if that's helpful. I don't know if you guys see it or not. If you unmute everyone but Mike, you could see him.
I'm having a difficult time hearing you guys as well. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, Mike. We can hear you now.
All right. I don't know what you got. Ed, Dante, and his crew did their normal good job, weed whacking and grading the parking area. Everything looks fine down at Pilgrim Landing.
Okay, good. And Mike also sent a picture of the new kayak rack that he built with, it was Dick Shriver and somebody else.
Jeff Meineke and John McDonald.
Okay, great. Okay, that it, Mike?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. The dinghy dock, George, anything new there?
Hold on, I got to unmute him.
How do I turn this off?
Which one is George?
Should be number 1.
Okay, go ahead, George.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Things are okay down there, although I think we need to take a good look at all the boards next year when it's pulled out and probably think about replacing them. But at this point, they will get through the year. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Okay, public access site, West Bank Lieutenant River. That's on hold until the Connecticut Port Authority wakes up. And Amtrak application, New Connecticut River Bridge. I contacted and spoke with Rima Keltis, who's the project engineer contact at Martinez Crouch. And she asked me to submit the information and questions that we were seeking. So I sent her an email. I think I sent it out to everybody to let her know. So at this point, we're going to table that item until we receive the information from the design engineering firm that was requested. The fishing pier, piling replacement repairs. That's a COP, which we do not sign off on, but I think John was in contact with them.
That's correct. Well, the last meeting I was told to contact the engineer in charge of the DEP restoration repair project. I made him aware that there was an overlapping scope with the bridge replacement. He wrote me back immediately and he said he was aware of the overlap and that he was going to take that into consideration for future action.
Okay, good. So there's nothing, I don't think there's anything more we have to do on that item.
I don't believe there is.
Okay, so off the agenda for the next meeting. The Dowd property pre-application consult, 7 Old Bridge Road, Connecticut River. Just as a preamble, Terry Lewis and I got a call from Keith. I received his drawings, and I didn't have time to contact many people. Terry had concerns which we wanted to discuss, and I had some concerns of my own. So we met that day on site with the Dowds and Keith Nielsen. Keith has submitted a revised plan, which was received today and emailed to everyone. And if I'm not correct, Keith, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Keith, but I believe the structure is about 103 feet long. But Keith, why don't you give the description of the revised drawings?
Sure, thank you. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
The drawings are follow our usual format of 4 sheets, one being location and project description notes, number 2, existing conditions, number 3, the proposed conditions for the dock facility, and 4, details and profile. And so looking at page 3, which we are right now, there have been revisions made based on the discussions we had at the site. As you can see, the total length of the pier is 77 feet. It is 73 feet from the coastal jurisdiction line to the end of the pier. It's 40 feet from the mean low water line to the end of the pier. That's DEP standard. 40 feet beyond mean low water. At the end of the pier, there is a 12-foot L, and on the outside of the L is a boat lift, which is scales at about 16 by 16. There is a slip. By the way, the boat lift is parallel to the current flow of the river, which we feel is critical for this site. The slip, on the other hand, is perpendicular to the flow of the river. Boat is tied off stern to the shore in 3 to 4 feet of water when it's aftmost position at the tie-off pile, and bow out because of the boat-induced wakes and waves and such at the site. Prevailing winds are from the southwest. This is a tough exposure to meet all of the optimum berthing and boat slip usage for the site, and we felt that getting the boat into the boat lift was probably the most important issue. Any berthing alongside is going to be temporary, and so that's how we selected this situation.
And Keith, the materials for the pier.
Yeah, this is a wood pile and timber pier. Every bent has 2 vertical wood support piles and 1 or 2 batter braced piles in areas where we do not have to contend with boat berthing or the PWC lift. We have the piles on the outside. Otherwise, the bracing piles are on the inside, and in some cases, we have both. This is a tough area, not only in terms of current and waves, but also in terms of debris collection. And so we've designed this based on some of the weaknesses that we've seen in some adjacent facilities, and we believe that this is, we're going to need this much structure in order to deal effectively with the expected and historical loads. There was a suggestion made about bridging from the mean low water line out to the pier head, and we did talk with Ms. Lewis and Mr. Ross about this for quite a while, and we understand that the concern is that we need to create as little obstruction to flow of debris and ice as possible, and that we need to give better deference to kayakers in the river who would be hugging the near shore area. And so we changed the pile bent spacing in this application drawing, and we also changed the pier elevation so that it's a little bit higher at the foot of the pier, the landing, and gives about 6 feet, almost 7 feet at low tide of clearance from the water to the underside of the pier, which you will see on the profile on sheet 4. And so we've adapted the design to the concerns that were raised, and to try and strike an equitable balance. And so if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them at this time.
Keith, the railings,
Yes.
you constructed how?
Well, our typical detail for the rails is to show them as a wood top rail with a flat horizontal end hold, and a vertical on-edge piece beneath it for bracing and rigidity, since that's the part that has to be able to withstand a 50-pound per linear foot and a 200-pound point load. The middle rail we show is a flat board on edge, bolted flat to the piles. However, in almost every case, we recommend to the owners to use double rails so that we can have, so that there's less visual impediment, less structure to look at from 100 feet away or more.
I've been moving.
See the cable rails.
No, they've been moving it around.
Sorry, did I miss something?
No.
Okay.
And lighting?
So there would be lighting on each one of the vertical piles from the bottom of the stairway out to the end of the pier. And generally they are very low wattage. Frequently these days we no longer use incandescent bulbs of any kind. We use the LEDs, and they can come in very low power settings and illuminate. They have louvers on the mounting to direct the light down, and so it is basically a deck lighting system. But it does give everybody, adequate visual cues to walk safely on the pier after dark.
Okay, would the lights be turned off when not in use?
They certainly can be. In some places we have situations where we have the lights radio or cell phone activated, and then they go off after 20 minutes or so on a timer, so that even if you come in late, there's a considerable hike up the stairs at this site. So when you come in late and you offload the boat and everything, you have enough time for getting the boat secured, and then by the time you get up the stairs and in the house, the lights are off. Now, I know that one of the issues that was mentioned was putting on retroreflective tape on the marker piles, And we are absolutely in agreement with that. We would put one on the northwesterly boat lift pile and one on the southwesterly tie-off pile, so that the extremities of the dock system are clearly marked. I did not show that at this time because I'm still waiting to hear from the boating division. The gentleman in charge of the boating division, Mr. Peter Francis, is generally amenable to our concern about navigational prominence of these piles so that they are clearly visible. But we should wait for Michael Payton to take a look at it and to give his blessing to it. We haven't gotten that yet, so but we are anticipating. And so again, looking at the plan view, it would be the tie-off pile in the lower left corner and up at the top of the boat lift by the bow of the boat.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Keith? Terry?
I just lost that picture. There we go. So I like how you changed the pilings, Keith, so that they're not sticking out 20 feet from the lift. The pilings of the two batters attached to it, where it's just, yeah, I think that works out I like that a lot better. It doesn't stick out because the dock is so long, the lift is 16 wide, then you were doing 20 feet off of that. I just think it works a lot better. It doesn't make it look so obstructive.
Thank you.
Okay, the only issue I should be incorporated into this plan is the cable rail. This is a massive structure, and tie-ups and lifts.
Bob Doyen, may I help you?
And I think we.
How you doing?
I don't know, somebody's talking in the background.
I just muted that participant. That's okay.
Thank you. Okay, so I would strongly stress that you minimize the visual impact of this to whatever extent is possible, and cable rail is one of those things possible.
I would be agreeable to that. I'll go ahead and offer that we will change the detail on the rail in the profile and the call outs where appropriate to indicate that it'll be a cable rail.
Does anybody else have anything to say on this?
I think Keith did a great job. I like the change.
Thanks a lot, Paul.
Thank you.
All right, this is a pre-application, so we'll be seeing it again after DEP.
Okay.
That's correct.
I say there's an offer. It's going to,
Will
we'll
be
just have
able
a couple of subjects.
an affirmative sign off on the consultation form so I can submit the application?
Would you repeat that?
Yes, sir. In order to submit the application, we have to have completed consultation forms. And so would you be able to sign that consultation form that this is consistent with the harbor management plan so we can move forward?
I would say no.
You can make a condition that it had cable rails.
I just saw this for the first time tonight. It came to my email about half an hour ago. I have concerns. The passage under allowing for kayaks seems to get them squeezed in at high tide, below it just fitting, at low tide when you're in the water. And to fit under that sloped portion, you're out near the small craft lift. It seems awfully tight to be useful to small boaters. So they're pushed out into the main channel, which is a pretty risky place anyway. there's a lot going on in this dock. I don't think we could say, yes, we agree to the whole thing. This one awkward meeting.
What are the requirements?
I think this came out. This is the second time I've seen it. I think everybody might have missed it in the last meeting.
The last meeting was different. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, if I
What are the requirements from the Harbor Commission on kayak access and allowance to the throughput here? You know, what are the requirements, and does this plan meet those requirements?
We do not have anything in our harbor management plan that indicates kayaks must be able to pass under a dock. And I don't know that DEP has any such requirement either.
So it's a matter of the opinion of the commission and the vote whether we should enforce kayak passage through such a dock.
I think it was just a courtesy if you could, because it's such it's a traveled area by boat. You get beat up right there. That whole section of the river, anybody that goes in a kayak, I have to be honest with you, is crazy to go around in that whole section. But if they wanted to skirt that whole section closer, it was just a courtesy to be able to go underneath the dock, to be able to come around that corner and then be able to go behind Cavs Island. And it's not obviously something that they have to do, but I think it was nice that they raised it a little bit so that at dead low tide, you can, even mid tide, I mean, I think you could still scoot underneath it at high tide if it isn't wavy, but obviously it's not a smart thing to do. But it was just a courtesy.
Okay. There's one other factor here. This dock is about 100 feet long, but a portion of that 100 feet is over the shore. And the water's pretty slim in there. Mr. Dowd has a mooring that's about 200 feet off the shore. And it's out of the channel. And there's plenty of room for a kayak to go between that mooring and this 100 feet.
I got to agree with Terry. It's pretty rough in that area, and I don't see very many kayakers in that area at all.
Well, I've rowed that area. I've not kayaked it, but I have rowed that area. I'm also concerned with two boat lifts. I mean, it is about the only place in the waters that we regulate that I wouldn't mind seeing two boat lifts or one boat lift, because it's sandwiched between the two commercial marine districts. But that second small boat lift is what really is, in a way, a bigger obstruction than the primary boat dock.
Can I offer a suggestion on this?
Sure.
Would it be more agreeable to everybody if we took that small craft lift and put it on the back face of the finger pier? So it would be out about 6 feet further, and would free up that next to last bent. You see what I'm saying?
Inside of the L dock, Keith?
Yes, inside of the L.
So you turn it.
You're saying put the two boats parallel.
Yes, boats parallel.
That better. Yeah.
Okay. And
I don't know. I think that'd be rough to do, to be able to dock his boat there like that, especially with the way that current flows.
Not our problem.
Yeah, but I don't think it's our job to make it for him.
I don't see why we can and should restrict the position where he wants to put his boats.
Well, we're not. We're solving another problem.
what's the problem that we're solving by asking them to put it parallel?
Well, as not to argue, but as Keith just suggested, to open up that space below for small craft to pass through.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Just adding it on to the end of the dock and then giving almost 35 feet to cruise through.
Well, no, I believe Keith said to the back of the dock where the larger lift is.
Right. Right.
Not at the end, but at the back there, yeah. So you turn it 90 degrees.
Right.
Why would a kayaker want to try to maneuver underneath a dock like that with that structure going out?
Well, you typically
do, Harry.
You typically would not, but there's times with current and wind when you really need to hug the shore. It's hard to get your paddle in the position to go under there, and with oars, it's next to impossible.
Mike, if there is strong current and wind, it's much less safe to go under that dock than around it. And my experience with kayaking and canoeing is that if you're 100, 150 feet off the shore, it's fairly close, especially with it being so shallow and irregular in that area.
I still prefer.
I really don't see where anything is gained, nor do I. Well, it would be nice to have more clear span. I think the dock will take it.
So, now, what is the reason to not go with Keith's suggestion?
I thought you objected to Keith's suggestion.
No, I didn't. Harry did.
All right, let's take a consensus. Well, let's do it the easy way. Is there anybody not in favor of this pre-submission application, provided that is specified and that the small craft dock is turned 90 degrees and then put up against the 12-foot finger pier? Are there any other objections?
Yeah, I'm against that. I think the original idea is the best.
Yeah, I'm on board with the current plan.
With the current plan.
Anybody?
No, I'm having a hard time understanding the problem with changing the plan.
Is not in favor of the current plan for the location, the small craft lift?
Well, I am not.
Anybody else?
I would like to still consider changing the small boat lift to be parallel to the inside of the L. I don't see any reason why that's a problem.
All right, I'll give my opinion. Doesn't matter. If Keith's
I kind of
willing,
feel the same. It doesn't matter to me. I think a jet ski coming in and out, that's a jet ski lift, right? Is that what they're using? Or is it little whaler lift? What is it?
It serves as both 1,000-pound lifting capacity. So it could be a dinghy, an HBI, one of the tiny whalers, or a jet ski.
It's probably, if you're going to be coming in with a tide, or I would say go along the inside the other way. But like you said, it's up to them and how they're going to get it in there. Either way, it's fine with me.
Yes.
the majority says either way. A couple people like it the way it is. A couple would like to see it changed. So I think our consensus is either way.
Does that mean we would be able to get a consultation form indicating that?
I don't see I don't hear any other objections.
Okay, thank you.
Consultation form.
Yeah.
I don't think I got one with the package, but is it just the standard form?
It's the standard form.
Okay, because that form does not even indicate the project.
I know we've started writing on all our consultation forms in the remarks section, Dowd property, new dock, or a new pier or something, because we agree that the second page is almost, we get them lost every once in a while. And so.
Why don't you email me that form?
Yep.
And I'll print it out, and I'm going to take a vote right now on signing off this consultation form, that it is consistent with the Old Lyme Harbor Management Plan and standards, with the condition that cable rail is used. Anybody have a problem with that? And that's the motion. Do I have a second?
Second, George Finley.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Likely is we're going to get into a multiple situation. You say give us the highest, the best, or give us the best, whatever.
He needs to mute.
Tell Jeff that this is a where is as is property sale. In other words, they've come right out and said the sellers will not be repaired.
in here.
Who is opposed?
I'm going to be opposed.
Okay. The motion carries.
Thank you. I'll get those revised drawings to you right away, along with the consultation form. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Keith.
Good night.
I want to thank everybody for their good input on this. Next, harbor management recap of activities since last meeting. And go through that briefly, Harry. Harry,
Yeah.
would you go through any activity, harbor master activity since the last meeting?
Oh, okay. Hold on just a second. On Sunday, I removed a obstacle from the waters off Old Lyme Shore. It was an abandoned trap. I'm not sure what kind of a trap it was, but I have it in my yard if anybody wants to see it. Moorings are going in the water, and also I received an email from Fox regarding the upcoming different webinars on the updated Blue Plan. If anybody's interested, there's a date and time for general overview, also a permitting, and then maps and views and resources and inventory. If anybody's interested, I can give them that information. Other than that, there's nothing really happening.
Thank you, Harry.
All right.
Tom Meyer.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me okay?
Very well.
Yeah. As far as moorings go, as of today, we have 36 moorings permits have been issued. 10 remain in progress, waiting on various bits of information. And we should have a total of 33 checks in the hands of Bill Harris. Three of the difference being the three folks from the Harbor Commission have taken advantage of their gratis mooring. We're, I think compared to past years, it's a little slower, but that's probably to be expected. And I, am continuing to hit the town hall a couple of times a week to try and stay ahead of the incoming mail. Harry, there's a few folks that you probably have paperwork for, like Mr. Testa. So we'll continue to do. Harry and I have worked out a scenario where we exchange information on a regular basis. So that's working well.
Very good.
I've got one to add to that. I had a discussion with Glenn Abramson today and asked him about how his moorings were going. And he said within a couple weeks he'll have a check for the commission. It's just right now he's a little overwhelmed and behind with work.
Yeah. Favor, Harry, if you speak to him again, would you ask him to please make sure he puts the specs on his inspection forms? I've had a couple come in that have been blank. Signs them, but he doesn't put the specs on there, and it just holds up the process for that individual.
Okay, I will relay that to him tomorrow.
Thank you.
Oh, and okay, that was all.
Tom, I have a question. This is John McDonald.
Yes, sir.
Could you issue at some point in time, and I don't want to put a burden on you, but the list of who paid for permits and who's like in the works?
Sure, I can put that out. I sent Mary Ellen a brief copy of what I just mentioned. I'll put an addendum together that just shows the list of those two types of situation.
Well, the reason I ask is there's some moorings in the water without stickers, and not that I'm doing Terry's job, and I don't intend to, but just out of curiosity, I don't know why I see some moorings in the water without stickers that I want to sort of understand if there's some of the people that just haven't gotten around to put the stickers on yet.
Can you tell me?
John, I can answer some of that. I do know that in the Binney Road area, there are about 4 or 5 winter sticks on moorings that were never pulled last year. That's number one. And I do know of 2 definite situations. One is up in the river where a mooring was put in by another vendor who had no clue about the inspection process for this year. And also, I just informed a vendor over in the Point of Woods area, he had 1 mooring, and I told him that he had to do an inspection and send in the paperwork to get the sticker. So I'm out there almost 3-4 times a week right now, and I know who's what, when, and where. So we're keeping up with that.
Harriet.
And also the stickers that we got, they work really well. They stick on very nicely and they hold.
Harry, I think we had a conversation about Binney Road, and you were going to contact the coordinator there to remind him about inspections.
I did, and I did contact him, and I did give him all the information. And to be honest with you, and he was pretty honest with me, that, you know, he's not really into this. So I don't know what his enforcement capabilities are with the people up in that area. I don't think he wants to really get involved too much. So I told him that, you know, if he needed help, just to call me.
Well, that's kind of where I'm at with that as well, Harry, because he did forward your message to all of Binney Road people. So he did relay to everybody in Binney Road they had to be inspected and permitted, and that's the only area of interest to me, is to just make sure that those people took that message to heart. He's not going to enforce it. You'll have to enforce it, but he's got no enforcement power whatsoever.
So
well, I didn't mean that he's supposed to do my job. I just meant I didn't know how much information he was going to pass on, but I'm glad to see that he did.
Harry, next time you're up there, if moorings in doesn't have a sticker, you sticker it with that Harbor Master violation sticker.
All right, what about the winter sticks that are in the water? You want me to do those too?
If there's no mooring on them, no. I mean, no ball.
Well, they should have come out of the water either way.
I think they will. Well, you can sticker them too if you think it'll stay on there.
Oh, I'll make it stay on.
So, John, just to circle back to your request, we collect a lot of data. Is there a subset that you'd like to have in these lists that I can prepare for you?
No, I'm just curious. So you said you had 36 permitted and inspected, and we have 10 in the works.
Yep.
I thought we had somewhere near 70 or 80 last year.
We had much more than that. We actually we're in the 140 range when you add in Old Line Marina and Marata and such. So
okay,
that's why I said it was kind of slow this year, and I'm assuming it's because of all the pandemic stuff. But it's hard to tell what the end number will ever be, but we're certainly at a low percentage of that right now. But I just don't want to flood you with information. Do you want just name and phone number, or do you want name and you want all the mooring information? I mean, there's tons of stuff I can give you. I'll give you whatever you like. I just don't want to waste your time.
No, just the names, Tom.
Okay.
To the point. I'm not trying to belabor this, but to the point is some of those moorings up there without stickers are actually legal. The people haven't got around to putting the stickers on. They've actually got the permit, but they didn't put the sticker on.
I got you. Okay. Yeah.
Also, I just want you to know that it's not been a very busy season up until maybe right around Memorial Day because of what's happened, but it's slowly picking up. I know a lot of people were still floundering about whether they were going to put their boat in the water or not. So.
Yeah. Well, when Glenn puts a mooring in, he doesn't put the sticker on because the sticker is in the hands of the homeowner. So there's a period of time when the mooring is in it, but it doesn't have the sticker until the homeowner goes out and puts it on there.
That's correct.
Hey, Harry, I have a question. When at the end of the mooring field, there's die bolts or D-bolts mooring ball. There's. Do you put that in, or who puts that one in?
I put D-bolt in, and I've got his sticker.
Well, it's at dead low tide, that mushroom stem sticking right out of the water. There's no water there, or you gotta lay that thing over.
All right, so next time I go up there, I'll pull it down.
Yeah, it's just really, really shallow right there.
All right, thank you.
I'm going to move along here. Kayak launching, not lunching. Storage Committee, Mike.
Okay, well, as you know, we have a rack at Pilgrim Landing now. Thanks to John and Jeff helping me, and Dick Shriver. And we will be ordering a sign for that. That will probably say for Old Lyme residents only. Our committee is going to have a meeting next week, a week from tonight. I've got to send out an agenda yet, and what I'm toying with is to just everyone has smartphones except me, and to have the town website as a reference, update the town harbor commission site to include any terms and conditions we might want to put on that rack. So that can be changed over time, and it'll be easily accessible. That's one thing we'll be working on at our next meeting.
Thank you, Mike.
And that's about it. Thank you.
Great job on building that, guys. All right, new business. Old Colony pre-submission application. This application pertains to the Harbor Management Commission. It's all drainage pipes and catch basins and additional drainage into the existing outflow that comes out of Sheffield Brook into Long Island Sound. So I don't see any issue with signing that COP. Anybody else? You got a text. All right, then is there anybody not in favor of signing the COP that it's consistent with harbor management plan? Hearing none, I'll take care of that tomorrow. Commercial mooring, commercial mooring, waive fees. Mike McGee brought this up. I did a little research, but let me give Mike the floor to explain his rationale for whatever proposal he has.
Okay, well, actually, I think I should turn this over to John, and I don't want to speak for John, but there was an email a couple of months ago, I think it was April, from John. I came to me, and I think you, Steve, and I'm not sure who else, that he had a conversation, correct me if I'm wrong, John, with Glenn down at Old Line Marina. And John suggested that we, in the spirit of goodwill, I think it was, that we waive the fee for commercial establishments, the monetary cost of an application. They would still have to supply, obviously, these are my words, inspection reports and an application for all moorings, and everything has to be up the way it should be, but we would just waive the fee. I thought it was a pretty good idea with everything that's been going on with the COVID and the economy. Everybody seems, especially businesses, have really stepped up to do whatever they can to help the rest of America. So I still think it's a good thing. It's not a lot of money to us, not a lot of money to Glenn, but I think it's in the spirit of goodwill. I think it's a kind thing to do. So that's where I'm at. I would say I would limit it to businesses whose primary source of income is servicing boats. In other words, if you have a restaurant and you have 6 moorings out there to bring people in to drink at your bar, they would not, I don't think they should qualify. So, but that's just my opinion there.
I have a few problems with it. First of all, it's not treating all commercial mooring establishments the same. Old Line Dock has 3, and Old Line Marina has many more. Secondly, I've done a little research and read some articles, and first of all, marinas were never required to shut down. Several of them did shut down for a few weeks, but it was not due to the coronavirus. It was due to just not having work and a very late spring. We didn't have decent weather till the middle of April. And what I'm hearing is once the weather turned, things just picked up dramatically. So I'm vehemently opposed to waiving the fees. I don't think it's our role. There are government aid programs and loans, payroll protection available to businesses. So if it's a result of the coronavirus, they have that aid available to them. If it's the weather, then what's new? You have some years the boating weather starts soon, others it starts later.
Just let me fill in, Steve. I can appreciate your point of view on that. The proposal that I made was way back at the beginning of the virus, and I think it was back in the time in February, not April, late February, and we were discussing maybe into March the fact that there was a lot of uncertainty and that this may be something we wanted to do if there was a disastrous economic impact on the marinas. And I think what we'd said back then was to let it go a few months to see what the overall impact on marinas was going to take effect. The proposal was if there was disastrous effects on marinas. I think as it's turned out that there is a fairly robust marina business now that people are buying boats, staying in lots of marinas, and that they're doing quite well because people are actually using the boats a lot more than we thought. So I think the spirit was in the right place way back at the beginning of the epidemic, but now that it's turned out that it's not as much of a crisis for the marinas, I think that's we don't have to go forward with this idea. Just to correct one thing Mike McGee said, and not that he had 100% memory on it, I never did talk to Glenn about it. Glenn had nothing whatsoever to do with this proposal. It was directed towards places like his, but it was never in concert with Glenn or at his bidding. So I've never ever discussed it with him.
It was
As a matter of, I had a conversation with him today,
Harry,
and he also he kind of spoke up against having to pay for mooring permits, but he based it on the fact that he feels that the town is taking a lot of taxes from him, and he just feels that this is an unnecessary tax. And I listened to it, but did not comment.
Right. First of all, that was at the March meeting that we decided to wait and see. And that's what we've done. Secondly, if you look up Glenn's rates for what he charges for a mooring, I believe you'll find that one or two moorings pays the fees that he pays to the town. It's a minor expense in his gross mooring income. I think the cost of keeping his tackle in good shape and replacing things as necessary is a far greater expense than the mooring fees.
May I make a point that when you create your rates in any marina in the marine industry, when you have moorings, those rates are part of what your application fee is. So when you're charging somebody whatever fee that you're going to charge them for the season, that permit is put into your factor into how much it costs for what you're charging a customer. I could see where if maybe Glenn, the mooring industry is down. I mean, look at Essex Harbor. I mean, it's not even full. It's very hard right now. People have lowered their prices. Well, actually not Safe Harbor, but other people have been lowering their prices trying to get the mooring industry, at least people back on moorings. And they're, it's very hard to fill a marina. Maybe some of the moorings that he's not selling, maybe you could take into consideration of not charging them a fee until it's sold. I'm not sure exactly how you guys do that. I never looked into it.
I think that's a complication. It's in the privacy.
They have to pay for the mooring.
Business operation.
Know how much he has to pay.
I think he gets about $1,500 season for a mooring.
So that kind of fee is factored into when somebody comes and pays for a seasonal mooring. Those permits are factored into your cost factor.
And he pretty much sells all of them because he doesn't put everything in. He waits until he knows he has customers. That's why the number he puts in every year varies.
Well, that's pretty reasonable because when we had 55 moorings in Essex, we had to pay for all 55 mooring fees, regardless if we sold our moorings or not. Just saying.
Any other comments?
I think it's a slippery slope to offer it to some, not to others. The boating industry right now is booming because of COVID, not crashing because of COVID.
And the other thing, I don't think restaurants charge for their moorings. It's more or less a convenience.
To get them in there, sure.
So they're not, I don't think that they wouldn't be charging unless they are charging, which is a totally different animal there.
The new restaurant up at Essex Island is charging $10 an hour to eat there.
Well, That's dockage, right? Or is that a mooring fee?
Not a mooring, it's dockage.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, even just the moorings that they have down at Sound View, I think they're just a courtesy mooring, are they not? Or do they charge a fee?
They don't
I think
charge
it's
a,
courtesy.
they do not charge a fee.
Right.
If anybody's been hurt, it's the restaurants, not the marinas.
Well, that's true. Everybody's hurt a bit.
Yeah.
But they're hurt the most.
That's not true. The marinas were hurting too for a while. I mean, I know
That's
where I
because
am in the south. They wouldn't put my
any decent weather until the middle of April.
Really too soon.
Middle of May.
Water now, and they're booming, and I know in Niantic, all the slips are filled. There aren't any vacant.
I think we pretty much beat this one to death. There does not appear to be a financial need for waiving mooring fees.
I feel naive in asking this question, Steve. I should know this, but I don't. What is the exact fee for commercial versus private? Are they same? I feel
Same.
That's what I thought.
$25.
It wasn't meant to be to solve a financial problem. It was meant as a spirit of goodwill to see the government do something for business instead of against business. If you don't want to do that, that's fine.
Anybody else?
A lot of
Hearing the arguments, Mike, hearing the situation, you still feel we should be waiving fees?
I feel we should take it to a vote, and whatever the commission votes on would be fine. My feelings are just one member.
Again, I want to remind
you know
you,
my feelings.
let's say Glenn puts in 45 moorings. That company puts in 3.
This is the only thing we have to offer.
Why do we have to offer anything when the marina business is doing well, as opposed to many other businesses that they're not only not doing well, there's plenty of them going under because it's been too long. All right.
a lot of grants right now, Steve. A lot of grants. We've written out 3 grants already, and they've been incredible to the marine industry. So if there's ways that Glenn could get a grant, maybe something in that direction, that's up to him to look into.
All right, then we'll take a vote. Who is in favor of not granting waivers?
Not granting?
Not granting.
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody else? Not hearing from 90% of the people here. Is there anyone in favor of waiving mooring fees for commercial moorings?
Yes.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Well, let's go back. Who's in favor of leaving the fees in place?
Steve, do I have a vote? Dick Schreiber here. Do I have a vote?
Let me go one by one.
Start again.
John McDonald.
Yes, waive.
Chris Staub.
Do not waive.
Bill Harris.
Do not waive.
Jeff Meinke.
Do not waive.
Mark Beasley. Mark Beatty. Mark Beatty. All right. Jerry Lewis. Mike McGee.
Waive.
Richard Schreiber.
Waive.
Jerry Lewis. Oh, did I already get you? Jerry Lewis.
Not waive. You already did me, Steve. Not waive.
Okay. Tom Meyer.
Do not waive.
My vote is do not waive. Anybody else?
Public where not waived.
The motion is all in favor with two, two opposed. Motion carries to none. Okay, Blackwall Marina. I received the usual barrage of emails, well, flurry of emails from Gene. And the issue is, do we replace the mooring that went missing or not? There's the fundamental question is, except for that mooring, the Harbor Management Commission does not maintain aids to navigation. And for decades, that inlet outlet had no aid to navigation other than what was put in privately. So that had a 100-pound anchor on it. So I'm trying to figure out how a marker and a 100-pound anchor disappear.
Did the anchor disappear also, or just the marker?
We can't tell because there's no marker.
Or maybe somebody vandalized it and took the marker and dropped the chain.
Don't know.
If we know the coordinates, maybe we could grapple it, see if the anchor is still there.
I thought we did.
The coordinates.
I thought we did not put it in last year.
Put it in.
I don't think so.
That should be a privately maintained. I don't think harbor management should be responsible for that. And it's always shifting there, so it's impossible to keep it in the right spot. And we have to have an exact position in order to do it.
Anybody else want to weigh in?
I don't think a 100-pound mooring right there is going to last very long. I think if they're going to do anything, they better put a bigger mooring.
True.
Somebody can easily pull up to that thing, put it on their chalk, and bob it all the way down wherever they want it. Or something can actually, a tree or a limb or anything can hang on to that thing and drag it somewhere.
Good point. I don't care either way.
They just need
to just soon not be in the business of maintaining navigational aids.
Right.
I thought we sold that to Blackhall anyway. Didn't we sell that mooring or that marker?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought we.
It was in last year. And in fact, one of Gene's emails, Harry put it in the exact right place last year, which is the first time I ever recall him not complaining about the location.
Keep in mind, if we decide that we're not going to follow up on it, we got to notify the Coast Guard that it's missing and we're not going to replace it.
Right. Like I said, I'm ambivalent on it. I would just soon not have aggravation from Gene every year. The expense, I don't think, is so significant that it's something that should sway the decision. Well, let's take account. John McDonald, replace or not?
Sorry, what did you say, Steve?
Replace or not replace?
Well, didn't we commit to it for this year? So if we got to give people notice, we got to taper off for 1 year. Or?
We didn't commit to anything other than putting it in. We put it in. That was our only commitment. We didn't notify anybody.
Oh, okay.
And according to Gene, no one in his marina has seen it out there this year. And Harry put it in April 9th.
All right. Well,
free to do what we want.
I mean, have we historically been putting it in and taking it out, or is this a brand new thing, or what's the deal
This
with
has
that?
been only a few years. Prior to that, the marina always put markers in the channel. And they would put a ball out where the channel was and, entered, where you enter the channel from Long Island Sound. Marina always did that.
So why did we start doing it in the first place?
Well, we were asked, decided to give it a try, so we did.
Okay.
I don't know, it's maybe, Harry, 4 or 5 years the most.
Just about every year, somebody would complain about the position of it.
No, not just about, every year.
Who originally bought it, Steve?
Harbor Management Commission.
So we bought it and we committed to it, and now it's gone. That's the deal.
We paid Harry to put it in and take it out. And, which is fine, till it disappears. And we need to decide if we want to continue with, it's been a problem of one sort or another every year. Whether it was Gene complaining about the location or the sand shifting and having to contact the Coast Guard and get approval for a new location. It's not been an easy one to maintain.
So no good deed goes unpunished, Steve, huh?
Yeah.
Good point.
Well, I just say get a bigger mooring, and when it's there, it's there. It's not gonna, I mean, it's not gonna go anywhere if you put something a little more substantial. If that's a bad area. I mean, obviously it is.
Are there any moorings in your yard that are owned by the Harbor Management Commission?
No, and the mooring that would be put in would have to be red.
I'm talking about the anchor.
Yeah, I've got some 400-pound pyramids.
That would work great right there, Harry. Why don't you use a pyramid there? Is it something that we own?
No, but it's something I've got.
Harry, what are you going to do? Sell it to the highest bidder?
Such a deal.
Oh gosh, got any railroad wheels over there?
I don't deal with those or engine blocks.
Harry, send me a proposal for putting one of those pyramids, a tackle, and a marker out there.
All right.
I will send it out to the commission.
Yeah. I guess my thought is it's a hard thing to stop once we've started, and we really don't do that much in that regard in town, and that's sort of a heavily traveled area, and it's kind of a nice thing.
I agree.
I will tell you one thing, and I know this from firsthand experience, but a lot of the people that run that route, they deliberately hit into that buoy for fun. Because long before I was part of harbor management, I used to do that myself.
We didn't put it out there, Harry, so you couldn't have hit the harbor management mooring. Secondly,
but when there was balls out there, just...
Well,
this isn't a ball, for crying out loud.
The problem is
telling you what I know is
in an exact location that keeps shifting, so it's almost impossible to keep it in the right spot.
If it's heavy enough, it won't go anywhere.
Yeah, but it shifts.
But the bottom shifts.
The bottom will change.
Right, the access weight changes underneath it.
Oh, well, obviously, reset it each year a little bit, but...
You're not allowed to. You have to go by the permit.
You have to go by the Anton permit. Can change if we reset it. I have to change that happens.
I've got to go. I have a problem here. Send me the proposal. I will send it out to the commission and get feedback from the people on the commission.
All right.
All right, and public comment. Bob Duane was here. Any public comment? Okay, if not, we'll adjourn the meeting. Make a motion to adjourn.
So
Make a
moved.
motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, next meeting is July 14th. I'm gonna try like the Dickens to work out something where we can meet in person. Town Hall is opening up June 20th. So I'm hopeful that if we have a meeting with 10 or 12 people, if we can snag the big meeting room, we can have sufficient spacing to have a meeting without WebEx.
Sounds good.
Great idea.
We'll see what
You could actually come to the meeting without your car, Terry. That would be nice, right?
I know. I'm finally home in my driveway.
Everyone, thank you for your input and putting up with the WebEx system. And Chris, thank you for posting the documents.
Yeah, no worries. Take care, everyone.
Yeah. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Hey, Dick, are you still there? Dick Shriver?
Me?
Yeah, you, Dick, this is John.
I'm Dick Shriver here.
Dick, I gotta let you know, your microphone is the one that causes all the problem with the background noise.
Huh.
I've had to mute you almost all meeting long because every time I take you off a mute, we get this static feedback through your microphone system.
Okay. Well, hopefully it's our last virtual meeting, but
all right. Nope.
I haven't had that trouble with Zoom. But
turn off
this
when
is
I push the button?
Yeah, it's just an FYI.
Yeah, thanks. Okay.
Not a problem.